here, right now, right 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 here, right
now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and live broadcasting here from New York, but live in California, Ian Jacklin, iCureCancer. Ian, good evening, man. Good to have you on again.
Thank you, and I'm actually live from Tijuana there, boys, down in Mexico again.
I did not know that, man. I was going to say, you know, I said, you know, I think Ian went to a different part of the house tonight. Well, you went to a different part of the world. So, hey, congratulations on the travel, and looking forward to the show, man.
Thanks a lot, brother. Yeah, and thanks a lot. Chris Wark is my guest tonight, and I'm really excited about that. How's it going, Chris?
Ian, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? Always good to see you. I always know it's going to be a good show when you're on.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, and I was really impressed, dude. You're becoming very popular. That Ricky Lake show must have like shot you up because people are talking bad crap about you now, and that's good. That means you're getting through. You're breaking through the mainstream. Really good stuff.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's neat the way things like that can, you know, happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least he was nice. He didn't really I haven't seen anything really bad go on, but the fact that you were mentioned the same sentence as Suzanne Summers, I mean, that's amazing, bro. She's the mother of cancer. She's like the Aretha Franklin. So, I mean, that's amazing. It's good. It's really good because we need. I'm so happy that God got you here and you're doing what you're doing. Because more people need to know, man. So you've been doing some crazy research lately. What's that girl's name? Sarah Hershberger?
Yeah, Sarah Hershberger.
Yeah, tell us about that story, because this goes right along with my film. As you know, I want to make a film called Baby Killers or Saviors, depending on who wins that battle. But it's all about children being forced chemo and radiation surgery, which we know that doesn't work most of the time. So bring us up to date on that story. This is amazing.
Yeah, so this is right up that alley. So Sarah Hershberger is a 10-year-old Amish girl, and she got some lumps on her neck. Her family took her to Akron Childrens Hospital, and they diagnosed her with lymphoma, and started her on the first round of chemotherapy. Well, at the same time, the family also did a radical change of diet and adopted a hardcore nutrition protocol, lots of green foods, juices, very little animal products, etc., lots of supplementation. They were working with a naturopath, holistic doctor on the side. And her first round of treatment went extremely well. I mean, the cancer basically disappeared. And I think the holistic component of it had a huge part to do with that. It may have been the main reason, but you know, who knows? The point is, she did really well after the first treatment. Cancer was gone, and they told the family they wanted her to do 27 months of chemotherapy. Okay, so the family they came back. They're basically compliant. You know, these are Amish people, very nice people, and they were following the doctor's orders. They trusted the doctor, trusted the hospital, and they, you know, came back for the second round, and she got started to get really, really sick. And the nurse comes out to their property to deliver some drugs, because what they were doing is they were treating her one day in the hospital, and then she was going home for like 3 or 4 days, and she had to take a shot every day. So this nurse came out to their home and was dropping off these shots, and she told the parents, she said, "Look, keep these away from the other children, because, you know, they can cause cancer." And the family was like, "What? What do you mean?" And she was like, "Oh, well, no." And she, you know, tried to smooth it over, tried to change the subject, but it was too late. Like, she had spilled the beans, right? And so they had another meeting at the hospital, and they said, you know, basically, look, these drugs you're giving our daughter, can they cause cancer? Because they really had no idea, you know. They were not disclosed this information. Sure, they had to sign some release forms, but nobody ever reads those. You know what I mean? It's just like, sign this for your treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
So after a lot of basically teeth pulling, they got the doctor to admit that, yes, these are carcinogenic drugs that they were giving her, and they're experimental drugs. And they said, look, Sarah doesn't have any cancer in her body at this point. And so what we want to do is we're treating her naturally with nutrition and natural therapies, and we want to continue to do that. We don't want any chemotherapy right now, but we would like you to monitor her progress. And if something changes, if what we're doing doesn't work, the cancer comes back, we'll be right back here. But we'd like to do this, from here forward, we'd like to do this nutritionally. And the hospital said, no, absolutely not. Under no uncertain terms will we work with you in that regard. And so they basically just drew a line in the sand. It's like, it's our way or the highway, which is chemotherapy or nothing. So the family said, well, we don't want any more chemotherapy. It causes cancer. And by the way, just my opinion, when you're giving chemotherapy to someone who has no evidence of cancer, where is the measurable benefit? There is none, right? So anyway, that's just logic.
It happens all the time, too. It happens all the time with the cannabis hemp oil. You look at Brave Michaela, she's cancer-free because the cannabis hemp oil, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, personally, I would never allow anybody to come near me or my family with chemo. Cannabis hemp oil is the closest silver bullet that I've ever seen in my life. It's curing all kinds of cancers, Crohn's, AIDS, diabetes. I mean, it's just amazing stuff. And I use the word cure lightly because, I guess it hasn't worked for everybody, but I don't know. I haven't had anybody that not work for it yet. But anyway, that's just what I've seen from my network. So the point is, the children get cured from the cannabis hemp oil that have leukemia, and they're still forced chemo for 2 years because that's the standard of care protocol. And this is what I don't understand. The kid is cancer-free. Okay, and you're going to poison them with something that causes cancer for 2 years?
Right.
Where's the logic?
As a preventative, it makes no sense. If that's a good idea, then everyone should be taking chemo for prevention. So they left. The hospital basically said, look, you got to, you'll have to sign this waiver and sign her out of the hospital, and we're not responsible. And the family said, no problem. We'll sign her off. We'll go on our way. And but before they knew it, the hospital had filed a lawsuit and to take medical guardianship over this girl and force the treatments on her. They reported the family to Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services came out and said, no problem here. Yeah, no problem.
What?
Child Protective Services said there's no problem here. They're not bad parents. We don't want to be involved.
Really?
Really. So they took him to court. The judge said, no, you can't force her to do chemotherapy. Right?
What?
That's great. Then they took it to appeals court. The appeals court sent it back to the original judge. He said, again, no, you cannot force chemotherapy on this girl. Then they took it to another appeals court. And that appeals court apparently assigned a new judge. And the new judge said yes and gave the hospital permission to force chemotherapy on this girl. Yeah, your head wants to explode. So her parents, this is a 10-year-old Amish girl, her parents took off. They disappeared. They left the country and took her and one of her siblings with them, and she has 6 other siblings at home being cared for by her grandfather and grandmother on the Irish compound. Now, I interviewed her grandfather. His name is Isaac Keim. He's the one that told me this whole story, and on my site, chrisbeatcancer.com, you can go and listen to our entire interview. It's about 35 minutes, and he just lays it out. He tells a longer version of the story I just told you, but the bottom line is, they're still in hiding. They can't come home, and we're trying to raise money just to support them. And just in less than a week, in about 4 days, we've raised about $11,000 through a GoFundMe site.
Nice.
To help pay for their travel, their nutrition, their supplements, legal fees, just all that stuff.
Man, I'm going to have to get on Ricky Lake because I'm doing one for my friend that has no money, and I think I might have raised 1,000.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people have come forward and tried to, are just supporting this family because it's so much. You get it. This is about medical freedom. It's about having the ability and the freedom to make medical decisions that you believe are in the best interest of yourself and of your children as a parent. And the medical community has this arrogance, and they're looking at us like we are basically dumb animals, incapable of learning anything valuable, right? Incapable of healing ourselves, and that we're just basically just so dumb that we cannot make good decisions for ourselves, and they know best, right?
I know, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
And so,
The only hope that family has now, just for our listeners, from what I've heard, is curing her. Get her wherever they go, keep curing her. Come back in about a year, say, check her out. And as long as she's cancer-free, then they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, we misdiagnosed. You're allowed back in the country. But if they don't save her, then they can't come back, so get arrested.
Yeah, right now she's happy, she's healthy, cancer-free. They've actually been treating her at a clinic out of the country, and she's great. I mean, she's doing excellent. She's a happy, cancer-free little kid, right? So that's all good. But from what I understand, they've got to get to at least get to the 6-month mark. And I don't know if the hospital is going to let up or what's going to happen, but it's a very difficult time for them. I mean, this guy, her father, he's a farmer. He is a vegetable farmer. That's what he does. He's got 8 children. He actually had a nervous breakdown, could not work for a month because of all the stress and anxiety and all of this stuff. I mean, the Amish, these are simple people. They live a very simple life, and they're not used to this, like legal battles, court battles, pressure, people threatening to take their children away. I mean, this is very, very frightening stuff,
And in America, I could understand if it was Germany back in the day or Russia back in the day, but America today, come on, folks. I mean, they don't even know stem cells are not affected. Cancer stem cells are not affected by chemo, and they're actually strengthened by radiation. Those are the ones that kill you. They'll shrink the cancer cells, folks. That's easy. But the cancer cells don't kill you. It's the cancer stem cells. And that's why this family was right. They did what they were supposed to do. They saved their child's life at any cost. Unfortunately, it's going to tear their own world apart, as you hear already. And it's just horrible. I don't know how this is going on in this day and age. I just do not.
Well, we hope that with the more awareness we raise, that there would be public outrage and outcry, and also financial support for this family, that maybe we can get some kind of a good resolution, and that they will just the court and the hospital will just leave these people alone. They're not trying to kill their daughter. These are not stupid people. They're doing everything they can to save her. And by the way, the Amish, in my opinion, they may be simple people, but they're much more in tune with their instincts, their intuition, and with just good old-fashioned common sense, right? And they have a very, very simple, view of the world. I mean, it's a black and white world. There's not a whole lot of gray area in the Amish community, and it's truth or fiction. It's black and it's white. And the hospital completely ruined their credibility with this family when they discovered that they had been misleading them about these treatments, and they didn't tell them that they were carcinogenic. And literally, every time they asked a question, all they got was a dodge. And, when you treat people that way, they can't trust you anymore. And so, I don't blame them at all. Of course they don't want to go back, because they cannot trust these people at the hospital that were supposed to be acting in the best interest of this girl. Well, what we've also found out is that there's a lot of money involved. The treatments for this girl are $130,000 a month at Akron Childrens Hospital. $130,000 a month. The treatment she was getting out of the country was $11,000 for 4 weeks. $11,000, a tenth of the cost, right? This is big money business, and they're not going to, what I heard through the grapevine, and I haven't been able to verify this, so it could be completely wrong, but a source had told me that there was some kind of grant, or like $1 million grant, that was given to the hospital to treat this girl or whatever. And so the hospital has this money, and they want to treat they want to keep this money, and they want to treat this girl because they have this $1 million grant or something along those lines. And so I don't know. Again, I haven't been able to verify
that makes a lot of sense. But even if that was a special case. That's the case with anybody that has cancer that has insurance. You're worth at least $250,000 to them, at least.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The Amish don't have insurance, and they're certainly not paying out of pocket. So somebody is funding this girl's treatment, and the hospital wants to make that money, and the doctors want to make that money, wherever it's coming from.
And they're using their position. They must have went, if they beat them twice and then lost the third time, I mean, come on, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, that's a lot of legal bills for the family. The hospital's got their own legal department. They don't, I mean, it's just a drop in the bucket for them. They can take you to court over and over and over again. And clearly they manipulated the system because they got a new judge assigned to the case that was going to give them what they wanted. So, I mean, that's just dirty politics, you know.
Unbelievable. And this story, you know, it reminds me, like, I really take my hat off. If you guys are listening out there, your family, you know, God bless you. And I'm really sorry you're going through this. You're not the only one, but at least you had guts. You had the cojones to just keep going and take your daughter and save her. Because I know many families that just couldn't do that. And so they had to live within the law. And their children are dead now. Dead. They were almost healed. They were almost healed till the cops caught up with them and forced them to go to the child services and get the key. And now they're dead. My very good friend, and they're in trouble for this one. They cut off my very good friend's arm, and I'm coming for them. Little Selena, they cut her arm off. She would have been cancer-free by now if they would have left her alone back in the cancer clinic she was in Arizona a while ago, but they didn't. And recently she had to have her arm removed. And I tell you, I'm going after them. I'm going after I like this new hospital you're talking about. Hopefully eventually we'll get into contact with that family, because it's all got to go in my film, man. Once the world sees who's running this country, it's over. The people are going to say, sorry, we're going to do what Iceland did. We're going to fire, you know, arrest the bankers and the 1%. And we're going to make the people run the show from now on. That's what's got to happen.
Well, look, you're right. We're reaching, and I think in our lifetime, we will see a significant change and a tipping point in the way the public views conventional medicine. Because if you look at just cancer treatment alone, most people alive today have watched someone they care about, a loved one, family member, a friend, go through treatment, suffer, and die. And there's only a matter of time before enough people see enough people suffer and die that they start to wake up and say, well, heck, you know, if that ever happens to me, there's no way I'm doing that. And that is what's happening. There's a lot of people out there that are saying, when they're diagnosed, you know, why are you getting so much attention? Why is my site getting so much attention? Because we're bringing information that people are desperate for. They're desperate for information on nutrition and natural therapies and help me heal my body, you know. I don't want a drug. I don't want a magic pill or a potion or whatever. I just want to restore my health. And you know as well as I do, it requires a massive lifestyle change. You got to change everything, but it's worth it, right?
Yes.
But the public is waking up. I mean, they just are. They're waking up. They're saying prescription drugs don't heal. Chemotherapy doesn't cure cancer. Radiation doesn't cure cancer. Surgery doesn't cure cancer. And pretty much every medical treatment out there, aside from resetting a broken limb, you know, or an organ transplant, most of these treatments are just prescription drug sales. And medicine has gone from being science-based to being profit-based. That's what it's all about. It's profit-based because they're ignoring nutritional science. They're ignoring lifestyle medicine. They're ignoring huge components of scientific research that deal with nutrition and natural therapies and lifestyle changes, diet and exercise, in favor of profit-based medicine and what you could also I call patent-based medicine, right? Because they're only interested in patented drugs. If we can't treat you with a patented drug, then we're not interested.
I know. I don't even know how. Well, I guess it's got to be the Dark Ages. I've heard, you know, after December 12th last year, we left the Dark Ages. We're in the age of Aquarius, and I don't care if people are into that or not. It's just, I find it interesting. Things do seem to be changing. I feel like the light is coming in, and people are waking up, and, you know, thanks to people like yourself getting the numbers up. Because I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but that you've heard the 100 monkey effect, the 101 monkey effect, where enough monkeys will learn how to wash the food, and they see each other doing it, and then it'll go from island to island. But after a certain amount of monkeys get it, monkeys on the other side of the world that have never seen it will get it. You ever heard of that?
It's pretty fascinating.
Interesting, huh? I mean, this is mystical stuff, which I'm not, 100% on, but I'm open to anything, and it made sense anyway. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. Like our only hope to ever topple the 1% and be able to have our life back, our world back, is to do that. I think is.
Well, it's a collective monkey consciousness.
Yeah,
right.
The mass consciousness.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true. I'm just praying for it because I don't know what else to do. I mean, we can't pick up guns and go fight them. They'll kill us. They run that. So.
Well, I mean, the thing is, my main focus is I'm just trying to share information. I'm trying to encourage people. I'm trying to give them real hope, because real hope comes from the belief that the body can heal. That is real hope. False hope is that chemo and radiation are going to cure your cancer, because we know they don't. The doctors know they don't. And if you ask them point blank, they'll tell you they don't cure cancer. Okay? I mean, straight up. So what are people really hoping in when they're doing conventional medicine? They're hoping for a medical miracle. You know what I mean? They're hoping for a medical miracle. They're hoping that they're somehow, that even though they do the same treatments as everybody else, that somehow it'll work better for them.
I know.
And there's, those people are a very, very small percentage of people that are treated for cancer, what I would call the medical miracles, the ones that live 10 years or more with no recurrence of cancer. And they're in the very, very, very small percentage, in the minority of cancer patients. Most cancer patients still have cancer after 5 years, and a lot of them die within 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
But it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. And what's so crazy is the medical community has a term called spontaneous remission. Spontaneous remission means the cancer went away. Well, that's what we call healing. The body healed it. But they won't call it healing. Doctors won't call it healing. They don't tell patients that the body is capable of healing it. They just treat spontaneous remission as an anomaly and something that's good luck. Well, you were lucky, or someone was looking out for you, or it was a miracle. And that's what patients think. They can only be healed by chemo or a miracle.
Right.
They can't be healed by the body's normal self-healing process. But that's false.
And I love the way you present that. That's false hope, because they blame us for false hope. Anything not standard care, they think we're quacks, but it's wrong. I've done the research, you've done the research, and thankfully many others are now too. And the ones calling us the quacks are the quacks. I mean, they're doing things we know doesn't work. Chemo has a 3% success rate. Now, I want to ask you about this, because from what I understand, every guru, every scientist, every doctor in this holistic world has repeatedly said, yes, 3% success rate for tumor-type cancers, up to maybe 40% for blood-type cancers. Now,
that's right.
You say that to any oncologist, and they're going to say that's not true. We've got a 60%, we've got a 40% for leukemia, we got this and that. What do you know about this? Because I actually have...
I know all about it. There's a study, and the study that produced that information is called The Contribution of Cytotoxic Chemotherapy to 5-Year Survival in Adult Malignancies. And it's on my site. You can Google that. You might have to rewind the video to get the name of it again. But look, they did this study of 150,000 Australians and Americans. They looked at all different types of cancers, not every cancer, but they looked at like 20 different cancers over 5 years to determine what they contributed to 5-year survival. And the overall average was 2.1% for Americans. Now, again, averages can be deceptive, because some treatments work better than others, but like colon cancer, it was a 1.8. And breast cancer was like 3%. And the cancers that actually responded best to chemotherapy, just to be fair, testicular, lymphomas, and leukemia, right? And leukemia wasn't even in this study, but the point is, those responded best. But like you said, the majority of solid tumor cancers have a dismal success rate. And here's the most powerful statistics that we have about cancer treatment that everyone should memorize. Number one, the cancer death rate, okay? The number of people dying of cancer has only improved 5% since 1950. In 60 years, they have only improved the overall cancer death rate 5%. That's not per year, 5% in 60 years. It's crazy, okay? Now, again, some cancers they've done better than others, but if you're looking at the big picture, the cancer death rate is 200 people per 100,000 people. And again, that's basically what it was in 1950. It was like 198 for, 200 for 100,000 people. So that's the powerful, true statistic number one. The second one is that the 5-year survival rate has only improved by 5% since 1970. So again, 40 years, and they've only improved 5-year survival on average overall for all cancers by 5%. So all this propaganda that cancer patients are living longer and that we have exciting new therapies and promising new therapies and all this stuff, it's baloney. They're doing the same things. They may have new drugs, but they're doing the same things they've been doing for 60 years, getting the same results, and they're getting paid very well whether you live or die.
I know.
That's the truth. And by the way, as if 5-year survival really even means anything. Because after 5 years, you could still have cancer. You could be an invalid, in a coma, on life support, right? Knocking on heaven's door. And they will still count you as a success if you're alive 5 years after diagnosis. So it's a throwaway statistic anyway.
Right.
You know?
And if you die one day after the 5 years, it doesn't matter.
You're still a success. That's right. So, all of the information that is reported to the public by the industry is so skewed, it's so manipulated, and it's obviously biased in favor of the industry to make them look good. But there are independent agencies like National Cancer Institute and American Cancer Society. They do come out and give you some true stuff, like those statistics I mentioned about 5% death rate, 5% improvement in 5-year survival. That came from those agencies. So, there's some people that will criticize those agencies for some of the things they do, and I get that. But they also produce some very powerful, true information. And so again, it's a screwed up world. But the point is, the body can heal. The body can heal it. The body created cancer. The body can heal it, but you've got to change your life, and you have to identify all the causes of cancer in your life, because there are so many. But you know this, Ian, but there's some major causes. Environmental pollution is a big deal. It's causing cancer. You've got to get away from it. If it's in your home, your workplace, stop putting toxic body care products on your skin. Your diet's got to change. You can't eat man-made processed junk food and expect to stay healthy. You won't. Your lifestyle, you have to exercise. You have to move your body. You have to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And you have to take a day of rest once a week. And you have to stop taking prescription drugs because they're immunosuppressant and they're causing metabolic dysfunction in your body that will break you down over time. Prescription drug use is the worst health epidemic in the country. I mean, it's crazy. It's like 40% of Americans are on one prescription drug or more.
Right. Yeah. And that makes you acidic as well. Just like negative thoughts make you acidic. Negative people make you acidic. And I'm glad we're talking about this, because enough of that all negative stuff that's destroying us, because that's just going to disappear, I believe. Let's help people that need help right now. One of my friends, I've got 2 friends, and both of them I think are hurting for money, so it's kind of hard for them. I posted something on my Facebook today. But she's been doing the cannabis. One of the ladies been doing the cannabis hemp oil and almost everything perfectly that I could see. The only thing she wasn't able to do was take greens anymore because of her thyroid thing. She's had a thyroid problem for years, so she can't do the green drink. And since then, her cancer numbers went up instead of down. And she's doing almost everything else. And she realized she hasn't done a lot of detoxing, though. So maybe we could speak a bit about that. What kind of detoxing do you recommend? And how do you do it so you don't get sick and die? Because you get you don't want to die.
Before we talk about detoxing, I want to touch on something you said, which is the 4th major cause of cancer, because I listed 3, right? Environmental toxins, diet, lifestyle, and then stress. Because negative emotions and stress All negative emotions raise your stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. And when they're up, they actually suppress your immune function. And we are living in chronic stress. I mean, from the time we wake up till the time we go to bed, we're going 90 miles an hour. It's bad news on TV. It's, the war, the government, the environment, cancer, all this stuff. We are worrying. We're stressed. We've got problems at work, problems at home, and then we're living on junk food and sugar and caffeine, which are all, stress producers. So stress is usually the straw that breaks the camel's back in health. Every cancer patient I've ever coached were under major stress before their diagnosis. Every single one. And usually they had some traumatic, stressful events in their life, like a bad divorce or a breakup, the loss of a woman, getting fired, losing their job, losing their home, or a combination of those things. So, yeah, stress is a big one. You have to let it go, man. You've got to forgive people. You have to forgive everybody that's ever hurt you. You have to give your worry and your fear to God. Like, you can't carry it. You have to give it to Him. You got to let it go. And so that's like detoxing your mind and your spirit and your emotions, right? Is letting go of all those fears and worries and just start enjoying your life. You've got to live. You need to choose to be happy today because, hey, I may be cancer-free, but I don't have a guarantee I'm going to live till next week, I could die in a plane crash, a car wreck, somebody could mug me and kill me. Who knows? Yeah. And you can't defer your happiness, You can't say, I'll be happy when I'm cancer-free. I'll be happy when I get that clean bill of health. It's like, no, enjoy your life, So gratitude is really the secret to happiness. It's gratitude. That's when you look around and you start thanking God for all the good things that you have. Thank you for my life, for my health, that I can get up, that I can run, that I can box, that I can, that I can take care of myself, feed myself, clothe myself, because guess what? There's a lot of people in this world that cannot do any of those things, and they would literally kill to be able to do that, And we are so blessed we have so much, to live in America and have an abundance of food and we still have a lot of freedom compared to other countries, despite it being eroded. And so when you start to like count your blessings and really take stock of all the good things and you focus on all the good things you have, man, it just unlocks so much joy and happiness in your life. It's powerful. And when you focus on your problems, and when you focus on the things that you don't have or think you deserve or want or whatever, or that other people have and you wish you had, that will make you miserable and unhappy.
It's my biggest worry, I think, and because I put it up on the post to see if anybody could help, because she's doing so many things, except as I said, maybe some more detox. But and I think she's fairly solid within her family and stuff. But yeah, there's got to be something out there. So I put it up online to see if anybody has some ideas. Now what would you
detoxing
recommend for detox? Yeah.
So did she have thyroid cancer?
Let me look here. I think it was breast.
Okay. Well, let's talk about breast. So breast cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, these are all endometrial cancers, and they're all connected, right? And your endometrial system is regulated by your thyroid. And a lot of women, for some reason, women are more susceptible to thyroid problems than men, but men have them too. But a lot of women have poorly functioning and toxic thyroids. So what's causing that? Fluoride, chlorine, and bromine. Those are the three toxic halides in the same family, the same chemical family as iodine. Iodine feeds your thyroid and will detoxify it. But those other three chemicals that are in our water and our food will pollute your thyroid. And so one of the main things that people with breast cancer, really any woman, if they've got thyroid problems or if they've got breast cancer or one of those endometrial cancers, is they have to really focus on detoxifying and healing the thyroid with iodine. This is what's so crazy is Asian women, have a breast cancer rate that's like 6 times lower than American women. But if they move to America and live here for 10, 20, 30 years, their breast cancer rates will equalize. In other words, they'll come up to the level of American women. So what they figured is, okay, it's not genetic, right? Asian women are not genetically cancer-proof, and Asian women, or American women, are not genetically cancer predisposed, so it must be diet and lifestyle. Then as they started to research more and more about the diet and lifestyle of Japanese and Chinese women, and the ones that weren't getting cancer, what they found is, they eat a lot of seaweed, and seaweed has iodine in it. They get about 12 milligrams a day of iodine just in their diet. And American women get like 0. I mean, less than a milligram, like 100 micrograms. And so iodine is a huge proponent of health, endometrial, breast, thyroid, etc. health. And then Asian women also eat a lot more mushrooms and more green tea. And those are powerful, powerful health-promoting foods. And they've directly linked their lower incidence of breast cancer to those 3 foods, literally: iodine, mushrooms, and green tea. So
that's probably why the China study wasn't so much about being a vegan. It was just they're different than the Westerners, right? That's what I heard. Like, you can't compare Chinese people to Westerners.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't isolate the one criticism, a few criticisms I have about the China study is you can't just isolate one thing they're eating or not eating, right? You have to look at the big picture, and they're eating a largely plant-based diet, which is very good, very healthy. Mostly plants, that's the way to go. But most of those people are not vegan. Veganism is not popular in China, and so they are eating animal products, but it's just a very small percentage, and a lot of them are very poor, and animal products are expensive, and plant foods like rice are very cheap. So they're going to eat a lot of plant food. But the point is, they also eat a lot of foods that we are not eating: seaweed, mushrooms, green tea, etc. And all of those foods have been studied. I mean, countless studies, published peer research studies on the anti-cancer compounds and health-promoting compounds in those foods. Like green tea has catechins, e.g. CG is this powerful catechin in green tea that is like this anti-cancer compound. Mushrooms have beta-glucans, and again, immune-boosting compounds that are also in oatmeal. They're also in nutritional yeast. And of course, seaweed has iodine, which I just talked about. So when you really study and dig down into the research and look at the diets of the healthiest people on the planet, you can learn a lot, and it becomes very obvious that you are not healthy because you're eating crap. That's man-made garbage, and they're eating foods from the earth that were created for us. So again, truth is simple. God created the earth for us. He gave us everything we need. It comes from the earth. It doesn't need to be packaged, doesn't need to be processed. And when we get back to eating that way, and you don't have to be 100% vegan, but when you radically change your diet to eating a largely plant-based diet, maybe 80% plant-based is a pretty good ratio for an average person, man, you will see changes in your health. Your health will improve. But other ways to detoxify: broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are the most potent liver detoxifying food that's been clinically studied because they contain 15 times sulforaphane than mature broccoli. And sulforaphane is the compound that promotes phase 2 liver detoxification. That's where your liver dumps bile into your colon that's carried out by your feces, basically. Liver bile, it lubricates the process, but it also contains all the toxins that your liver has been detoxifying from your body. And so fibrous food absorbs it and just carries it out. Right. So broccoli sprouts, I mean, it's like, it's not sexy, but they're like one of the most powerful superfoods for detoxification.
Sprouts? Did you say broccoli sprouts or Brussels sprouts?
Broccoli sprouts.
Oh, broccoli sprouts.
Yes.
I don't know what that is. Is that
it's before a mature head of broccoli, it's a tiny. And you can buy broccoli sprouts at the grocery store right next to the alfalfa sprouts. And they look exactly like alfalfa sprouts, but they taste different. They're spicy, kind of like a radish.
Okay.
Spiciness.
So that'd be something to add to my blending.
Oh yeah, man. And I'll tell you what, you can buy at Whole Foods and a lot of health food stores, you can buy broccoli seeds and just sprout your own, in a little sprouting jar. I mean, it's super cheap and it's easy, and it literally is the most cost-effective superfood on earth is broccoli sprouts.
There we go, folks. Any of my people listening that are broke, I'm trying to help you out here. I wish I should have stuck to my acting. If I was the next Arnold Schwarzenegger when I thought I was I'd be funding everybody right now.
That's right. The cruciferous, the cruciferous vegetable family is one of the most, they're the top dogs in health. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage. Those are the most powerful health-promoting vegetables. Now, the allium family is also very powerful. That's garlic, onions, and leeks.
Do you put them in your shakes?
No.
It's a little nasty.
No, that would be disgusting. But I do put broccoli in there. I'll put broccoli, kale, spinach, and cauliflower in a green smoothie. No problem, man. And I'll throw frozen berries like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, cherries. Bury it up, coconut milk or almond milk, a banana, maybe some dates, walnuts, just a big Vitamix full, you know what I mean? Just the whole thing.
Me too.
Yeah, a huge smoothie. And I have that for lunch almost every day. And again, throw that stuff in there. But the garlic and onions and leeks can be a little bit overpowering in a smoothie and kind of ruin the taste. So that's better eaten like, a big giant salad, and I put garlic on everything, eat onions all the time. Nutritional yeast, again, is another great thing you can put on almost anything you're eating. Bragg nutritional yeast. Yeah, man, go get you some. Wow. Bragg nutritional yeast.
Bragg's. Anything Bragg's is good, right?
Bragg's is awesome. It's an awesome brand. And yeah, nutritional yeast, it contains beta-glucans and it boosts. They've studied, it's been clinically documented, So it's powerful.
I'm down here at the American Holistic Care Clinic in Tijuana, and they're all MDs that actually believe in holistic first. And I told them ever since I've been on this blend fast, I've been having to go to the bathroom. Like when it comes, it comes. Yeah, look out, get out of my way, because I'm not making a mess in my pants. Like I don't even find a bathroom. I'll get off the freeway and find the closest bush. I mean, it's so bad. And it happened the same time I started this blending and the oil, so I didn't know what it was. And he told me today, the doctor, MD, who knows all about nutrition, he said it's because your body was so used to peeing acid. All of a sudden, you quit. I went vegan and everything like you did when you went to, because my pH was 5 for about 6 months, and I was worried, so I went total vegan blending. And he said what happened is because your urine doesn't have any acid in it, you've got an infection probably. So you probably got a urinary tract infection. I mean, we're going to check that out tomorrow. But so anybody out there they go from a regular crappy diet with regular meat and steroids and antibiotics and dairy to nothing, pure. You may get that. That's what I've been dealing with. So other than that, I mean, thank God. Let's hope that's all it is,
Everybody has different reactions, but detoxification reactions are common because you're going to also have junk food withdrawals. When you start eating a vegan diet or even a raw diet or doing a juice fast or a blend smoothie fast or whatever, yeah, you're pumping so much, going to release and detoxify from the junk that it's holding on to make room for the good stuff, okay, in a simple way. But that can make you feel terrible for a few days. Like some people will have headaches, they'll have no energy, they'll just feel terrible, and they'll make the mistake and think, oh, I can't not eat meat, I feel terrible because I haven't had any meat today. They don't understand that their body has kicked it into house cleaning mode and they're detoxifying. And it's actually a good thing to feel bad for a couple of days, because then you feel amazing once you get over that hump. Once your body starts sorting all that stuff out that it's basically, when you're detoxifying and you're healing, your body is addressing all of these problems that literally it's been procrastinating.
Absolutely, yeah.
Does that make sense? Because our bodies are so overloaded with toxins and stress and all these demands that literally, that's why the body becomes a place where cancer can thrive, because it just can't keep up. You know,
Right.
when your body can't keep up with all the stuff you're putting in it, and it can only detoxify so fast and so much. And if it can't detoxify everything you're putting in it on a daily basis, then it's going to store toxins and fat. And when you fast, you burn through fat that releases toxins into your bloodstream to be eliminated, but it's going to make you feel terrible. And
Right.
it's going to. Some people get headaches, they get nauseous, they get diarrhea, they'll break out in pimples in weird places. There's a lot of detox reactions like that are, but again, they only last a few days typically.
That's what I was going to say. It goes away because I thought of this last night because, again, I'm in Tijuana and I'm one of my friends that comes to me for, what would you do kind of thing, even though it doesn't listen to anything I say hardly. But I noticed, like, we're walking around TJ and I'm like, last time we were here, it seemed like you're on your deathbed. I mean, I had him on the shakes. The first few days on the shakes, I was putting cayenne pepper and everything. So it was, basically I was drinking my shake and he was having them too. And I guess it was a little harsh for him because he felt real bad those first couple of days. Plus, he has cancer. I only have a 5 pH. It doesn't mean I have cancer. It just means I could have it. He has it, so he's got tumor hanging off him. And it's like, that's probably why he got so sick. But look at him here. It is a month later, and his pH is 7.4, and he's running around like all young and strong, and the tumor's not growing. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, hang in there, folks. It's where there's a will, there's a way. It ain't going to be easy. Sometimes you got to get worse before you get better.
That's right.
But really try and keep onto that safe. If you can get yourself, after you've heard you've been diagnosed with cancer, you're going to be scared and like, oh my God, and then become acidic and you're scared to death. If you can somehow, this is where the meditation, the prayer, or whatever the spiritual side comes in. If you can get to that place that Chris was speaking about earlier, of happiness is, I get there and try and hold on to it. Because my friend who I'm talking about, his name is Wendy, that we're trying to help out tonight, that she thought everything was going good because last time the test looked great and she was all happy, and then to this time the test looked bad and she went down back for this again. And I'm like, man, if we could make a pill that somebody could take that would make them stay this, no matter what you're told, no matter what test results say, stay higher energy, stay your higher self. Don't let, and that could be a misdiagnosis. That could have been, you get 3 opinions, folks. You never know. Try and keep in that place of happiness, that love. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and cocaine helps. But no, absolutely. But it's the daily struggle for someone with cancer. It's giving their fear and worry to God and letting go of it, and not getting beat down and depressed and discouraged by the reports they're getting. Because, like you said, here's something that a lot of people don't understand, that CAT scans have a 20 to 30% margin of error. They did a study where they put patients on CAT scans with cancer patients. They did a CAT scan, then they did a second CAT scan 15 minutes later. Same machine, okay? And they used, it would either be the same technician or a different technician. But what they found was the tumors would grow or shrink as much as 20 to 30% in a 15-minute period. And they're like, what? This doesn't make any sense. And the CAT scan did make the tumors grow. What they realized as they started to really dig into the process is that literally your position in the machine between one scan to the next affects how the laser, the tumor, right? It's taking these slices of a tumor, and if it doesn't slice it right in the middle, if it's slightly to the left or the right or the top or the bottom, then it's going to measure it differently. So in other words, if the first scan, it slices right through the middle, and let's say it's a 3-centimeter tumor. Well, the next scan, if it's slightly off center, it could say it was 2.7, or it could say it was, or if the first scan was slightly off center and the second scan was right on the center, it could say, oh, the first one was 3.0, now it's 3.3. And then patients are freaking out. My tumors are growing. The cancer's getting worse. And the reality is, no, it may not be at all. And so if you have a 20 to 30% growth or regression on a scan, you really can't put any stock in it at all. Now, if it's 50%, 75%, 100%, okay, that's significant. But 20 to 30% literally is margin of error. And how many people have freaked out, done more chemo, and made all these bad decisions because they thought their cancer was growing, and it may have just been an anomaly from a misread scan or a scan that was just slightly off and slightly different than the last one.
Exactly.
It's
Very
crazy.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't even know that, and that's very good for me to know because that will help people immensely. I hope that's helping you. Wendy, listen to this. This is very important. Don't let your spirits come down. Don't let that fear get a hold of you. You're the champion. You're going to win this. You're going to beat this. Don't worry. She said, well, I'm it's coming back to me now. She had, I think, something to do with the ducts in her breast or something, and then somehow it got to her on her spine. I think she had 4 tumors on her spine. So it's kind of scary, but I do believe it's only stage 2. Again, I talk to so many people, and I'm not a doctor. I don't give advice. Just I'm a friend that people like to rub things on me, and I go, yeah, I kind of feel like that would work, you know.
Yeah,
so,
if it's in the lymph nodes, it's stage 3. If it's in 2 organs, it's stage 4. But the point is, I know lots of people that have healed stage 4. Your body can heal it, but you do have to be determined to live, do whatever it takes, and you got to let go of all the negative emotions. And you just have to change your life and start living and enjoying and nourishing your body and really focus on all the good things and let go of fear and worry and anxiety. Because guess what? We're all going to die anyway. You know, you just have to let go of that fear of dying and get right with God, you know, sort that out. Right. And that's important. And once you, because some people have rejected God and they're running from God and they don't, their spiritual life is just a wreck, you know, and you have to reach out and be like, okay, God, you know, if you are real, I need your help. Like, I'm desperate. And you have to sincerely just reach out. But when you do that, amazing things start happening in your life. Miracles start happening in your life when you reach out and ask your Creator to help you. You know, it's powerful.
Yeah.
And you start trusting, you know?
Yeah. Cynthia, my co-host on the iCureCancer show on Saturday, she said she had to figure out where she was going after she died before she decided if she even wanted to live, you know? And that's by getting to know God, understanding God, believing in God, or whatever you got to do, universe, whatever term you want to use. But that was it, getting over the fear, she said. And that makes a lot of sense, you know, and you got to really want to live. And because she admits, I didn't make this decision right away. I took time because I know my parents, my family want me to live, but you know, it's my choice, it's my body. And she waited and she found it out, got it, and obviously it worked. She was stage 4 terminal cervical cancer, given a year to live, knocked it out in 8 months.
Some people don't want to live. It's true. And for some people, cancer is a relief, you know, if they've had a rough life, if they're depressed, if they're just tired of living, a cancer diagnosis is actually a relief because it's a way out. And yes. I mean, again, this is some people. This is not all cancer patients. Most cancer patients have a long will to live, which is why they agree to be poisoned and radiated and brutalized, because they think they have to endure that, and they are willing to endure it because they want to live so bad. But the problem is those treatments are so brutal and the suffering is so intense that a lot of cancer patients lose the will to live because they're tired of suffering. And that's the saddest part about it. When you see someone that has suffered so severely over so many months or even years, and they're just so beat down and tired and worn out, man. And then they just don't have any fight left. You know, they just don't.
That's what I love about, and you must see it yourself. I mean, I see it literally. The people that don't do the chemo radiation surgery, you never know they had cancer. I mean, they're bopping around all happy and healthy. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's what I would say. Even if the reason why I wouldn't take chemo or radiation is because if I die either way, let's say I can't pull it off using everything I know about holistic, at least I die not really in pain or whatever, you know, it was some dignity. The people that die of chemo, man, that's not a pretty situation.
No, it's bad. It's you know, and you know, dying of cancer is bad too. Even if you know, for the people that forego chemo and still die, but they feel better a lot longer. They're able to enjoy their life. Their quality of life is so much better. So, I mean, if you're definitely going to die, which would you rather have? Would you rather be able to walk and take care of yourself and live your life and enjoy it? Or would you rather be in bed poisoned and sick and nauseous and your hair falling out, you know, along the way until you die? And cancer patients are told, a lot of them that are terminal, they're like, well, you have 8 months to live, a year to live, but you know, if you take chemo, you can live another year. But if you don't, you'll probably die in 6 months. So they think they've got to take the chemo to live an extra year, but what's the point living an extra year when you're in bed and sick and suffering? That's not living. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I know.
So it's, again, I hate to dwell on the negative side of it, but people just need to be aware. I mean, the truth can be painful, and reality, it stings a little bit when you really know, when you really understand what people are going through and how they're suffering, and the fact that the cancer industry has made very little progress for most cancers, despite what they're telling you. Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but the only good thing about it is that they're doing it to our babies. And the only reason why I say that that's good, because that should be the thing that pisses everybody off and stops this. I mean, that's what really got me going. I was very angry when I found out that they would do this to my family members or my friends or any human being. I have a lady walking across the street. I'll make sure she gets there safe and sound. I don't want people messing with people. And I just can't believe they do this. But you do it to children, man. We're coming for you. We're coming for you, Murdoch. That's what I keep saying. You remember that movie Rambo? And he's like, Murdoch, I'm coming for you. Well, that's what we're doing. And we're doing it for your sake, people, for the judges and the lawyers and the oncologists. We want your children to live too. And I'm only going by what I've seen in my own eyes, and I'm sure that's why you do what you do. I mean, look at us. Do we look like scammers? Do we look like we're trying to get one over on you? No, I found out by accident because my girlfriend, Cynthia, cured herself of cancer 17 years ago. And I made sure she was not a fluke by researching the internet. That's when the internet first started coming out. Man, I found so many people like her, like you, that, oh, yeah, I had cancer and I did this and this, and I don't have it anymore. So
Yeah.
I think that the public can see you and our eyes, that we're telling the truth. So when people write bad things about you or myself, they haven't yet, but I'm sure they will, it doesn't really matter, because we're just speaking. If I thought that any of this didn't work, I would stop immediately. I get in street fights because I have to help somebody, because I'm a bouncer kind of guy, and I'll knock the guy, or I'll hit him just hard enough to stop it, and then I've had to pull cops off from beating the guy. I mean, I get in street fights and I save their life usually, because I can't hurt people. So same thing with this cancer thing, and I'm sure you feel the same way, man. We're two regular guys that see what we see. You're living proof of it. I've seen it with my eyes hundreds of times. So we're just trying to get the truth out to you folks, that where there's a will, there's a way, and you might want to look into other options.
You have to educate yourself first. But it really makes it easier if you start adopting this lifestyle now. And because it's a preventative lifestyle, the same diet and nutrition principles that people are using to heal cancer also help the body stay well and prevent it from ever becoming a place where cancer can thrive. Because essentially,
an ounce of prevention.
Yeah, an ounce of prevention.
An pound of cure.
Yeah, a cancer, it's an overloaded body that's toxic, and your immune system is suppressed, basically broken. Your immune system is what heals cancer. That's what it is. The immune system is the cure to cancer. But if it's overloaded or suppressed, and it cannot function at optimal levels, then you're going to have a sick body, and you're going to have all kinds of degenerative diseases, including cancer. And so, I mean, obviously, the same page here. We're just trying to encourage people to, and what you said about just being a regular guy. Yeah, I'm a regular guy. I have nothing to sell, right? And I didn't start sharing my story for 7 years. I mean, I waited 7 years before I started Chris Beat Cancer, the blog, to share my story, just because, and in that time, I kept meeting more and more and hearing about more and more people that had done the same thing I did and healed their cancer. And I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. I'm not a fluke. There's a lot of people out here that have done this. I need to add my story to the mix. Just here's one more. Just one more. Mine's not any more important than anybody else's. And if somebody wants to try to discredit me, it's fine. There's 1,000 people in line behind me that'll step up and share their stories, and we do it on my site.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that as hard as people try to discredit me or whatever, and try to poke holes in my story or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My story is not nearly as compelling as some of the others I've heard. Like your friend, stage 4. I was only stage 3. But there's lots of stage 4s that have healed themselves with no surgery, no chemo, no radiation.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, it looks like our show's up, man. Boy, that zipped by quick, brother.
Thanks, Ian. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, bro. Always, anytime. ChrisBeatCancer.com, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And look, just to wrap it up, that interview with Isaac Kime, the grandfather of Sarah Hershberger, Amish grandfather, is on my site on the front page. Just want to encourage everybody to just go and listen to it, because it will blood boil, and you really, really need to hear it from the horse's mouth, no pun intended, about what this family is going through. And please consider donating to help them.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Chris Wark. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you guys in New York. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay safe, stay true, and God bless everybody. Peace.
Right here, right now, right here, right now.